my mates, welcome back to another vlog. This time we're at the gym. We're doing a push day. My routine is push, pull, leg split. For the most part, I usually do a 6-day rotation with different exercises. But I've had a few people ask, what do you do at the gym? So I thought, hey, I'll do this as the second vlog. Changing it up from that first one, of course, just filmed it on my phone to try to make it a bit more discreet while I was at the gym. And now I'm doing a voiceover instead, just to change it up in multiple ways. Now, to kick things off, of course, I've gone through a rotator cuff injury myself. So for the last couple of months, I've been doing a lot of these external rotations, a lot of other little warm-ups and strengthening exercises for my rotator cuff. And these external rotations were an absolute godsend in relieving my pain in my shoulder and get me back to where I am at the moment. Of course, the upward rotations with a shoulder press it is good for your rotator cuff, or one of the many little parts of it, as well as, it does a little bit of work at warming up those shoulders for your push day. So I try to make it like a 2-for-1 here. And while you're already in the position with the band down there, you can do some forward rotations as well. I know they strengthen something in your shoulder. Those ones in particular, I'm not 100% sure of. I just saw C-Bum doing them. So, I threw them in the repertoire because it was easy while I was there. Then, of course, you move to some dead hangs. They stretch out your lats. They stretch out your arms and open up your shoulders as well. And look, I'm working on my grip strength. So I think that gets a little boost from those. Then, of course, we move on to the stretching. I use these bands to just go for the pec stretch. You just put both arms behind. And my range of motion at the moment isn't up to scratch. It's not where it was before my injury. So I try to take my time with these just to try to get back to where I was. Then I go single arm to try to focus on, each arm. Isometric stuff is generally good. And as you can see, my left arm is definitely tighter than my right, or at least my shoulder is. And that's exactly why we spend a bit more time on it, and it looks a little slower. After these, we're going to move on to the doorway stretch. It should be a stretch where you put your forearm up against a wall, against any frame of sorts, and then you just dip your torso down in front of it. You should feel a nice stretch from the upper and on the side part of your pec straight into the front delt, which is your front shoulder, if there's any noobs watching, of course. Do it on both sides, and then we are ready to start lifting a little bit of weight. Exercise number 1, the cable chest fly. I've chosen this as the first exercise for my push day because it's very chest oriented, and I personally struggle with getting that mind-muscle connection on the chest, and I feel like doing something that isolates the chest is a great way to fix that mind-muscle connection. And look, you'll see later on that it definitely takes it out of me. A few tips that I've picked up over time is pin those shoulders back as best you can. Obviously, it doesn't look like I'm doing that, but I am trying with the form that you can see on your screen right now. And then make sure you squeeze that chest together. That is the key. Now, exercise number 2, we are going to be moving on to the shoulder press. Today, I decided just to do it on a machine as well. It's isometric, so each arm's getting just as much of a workout. And I've gone for heavy weight to start. I'll then drop the weight a little bit. You want to be aiming for, 3 to 4 sets. And the amount of reps are probably, look, if you're going heavier, you want to aim for 6. If you're going lighter, going for hypertrophy, look, 12 to 15 is pretty good, but just make sure you take it slow. Make sure you can feel that burn in your shoulders. That's what we're aiming for here, just to get a nice shoulder pump, a nice shoulder contraction, and hopefully it helps the shoulders grow into boulders, huh? The next 2 exercises I usually superset together, but we'll go over them one at a time. We have tricep push downs. So you are just going to lean forward. You're just going to use the cable and do one arm at a time, and try to keep that elbow as still as possible and poke that bum out, lock it off, and just get a nice burn in the back of your arm, one arm at a time. I usually aim for 3 to 4 sets of this, similar to the other ones, and 8 reps or to 10 reps is my sweet spot. Any more, I just go till failure. Any less is because I'm going till failure. A similar thing for the next exercise, which is going to be lateral raises. We're going to do them with a cable, and they're also known as draw the sword when you do them like I am right here. You just keep your arms slightly bent, kind of like a Y raise in front of you, but of course, just full focus on getting that lateral head, the side head of your shoulder firing as you go through this one, just nice and slow. You don't need to do too heavy. It is pretty hard to do heavy on these exercises when you're doing them correctly. and it's very much all about form. Again, one arm at a time is the way you want to do this one. And for the spacing, as you saw at the start, I usually just grab the pole with one arm, and that's how far out I'll go away from the cable machine itself. Now, in terms of sets, you want to go 3 sets, maybe 4 sets if you're feeling like really good on the day, and then I'll aim for 12 or more reps. Usually I won't be able to get more than 12, and if I get any less, then the weight's probably too heavy for the exercise. And I feel like these isolation exercises are really nice to superset together. You don't use too much tricep when you're going for these lateral raises, and likewise, you don't use too much shoulder when you're doing the tricep push down. It is time to jump on into the bench press, which I usually do at the start. So today was quite difficult, and I went till failure, but not on purpose, and failure was much earlier than usual. That being said, it's a lift that's a necessity on a push day, and I feel like if you're not doing a bench press, what are you doing? That's what I want to know. Now, watch here. My left arm fails a bit earlier than my right. You can see it starting to dip on this rep, and then I fail the next rep, which I didn't expect to do. I thought I had more gas in the tank, but I didn't. So I didn't know my limits, but I had the safety rails set up, so it ended up being all okay. And at the start of the workout, I'd usually have this exercise for like 4 sets, 5 sets even, because it is such a good exercise. But on this day, I think I only did the 4 and really low reps because I wasn't expecting to be so weak. Next exercise, we got the rear delt flies. I superset them with dips here, but you don't have to. And look, you don't have to do them isometric either. You can go and find 2 cables and do them both at the same time. A very undervalued muscle, in my opinion. If you have a big rear delt, it allows your whole shoulder to look a little bit more full. So make sure you add these into your repertoire if you haven't already. Same thing as usual. Look, 3 sets, aim for 12 to 15 reps because it is a bit of a smaller muscle and you want to get that squeeze. And then moving into dips as well. On a chest-oriented day like today, I'd personally be trying to focus on getting as much of a contraction on the chest as possible. My form's pretty terrible at hitting the chest. I usually just feel it in my triceps, and I think that's okay when you're this deep in a workout. And in terms of the amount of sets you want, I usually go 3 to 4, depending on how much gas I have left in the tank. And I'll usually go to failure. If you can't lift your body weight, feel free to raise that platform on the assisted dip if you have one at your gym. It's there for a reason. It's there to make your life easier and help you on your fitness journey. That being said, the workout's now done, and I'm going to go over some of my supplements I use. I use Bulk Nutrients Pre-Workout 101. I find it to be more than enough caffeine, beta-alanine, all the good stuff. Pico approves as well, which definitely helps. And in terms of post-workout shake, I'll put a flat teaspoon of creatine monohydrate and then whey protein isolate, 1 scoop of that in there. Shake it up, down it, and just use that to try and... Hey, Jess. To essentially just try and hit my macros. I end up just eating maintenance all the time, even though I do try to cut. But hypertrophy, it's a long journey and one I'm still trying to figure out. But for the most part, that's my workout, and I hope you learned a thing or two.
It's a new angle. New angle. The tries look huge. Not bad, not bad. Either way, that's it. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you want more. Bye.
Hello, it is I, the man that lives inside Mac's moustache. I have a message. Mac told me he'd release me if you hit that subscribe button. Please help save a life. Hit that sub button now.